Well, Mark, I'd like to thank you so much for accepting this interview, which the theme is to get the pulse of dermatologists throughout the country. And you are certainly an example of a pan-Canadian dermatologist, because you can tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in dermatology.
Sure. My path isn't exactly straight. Well, when I was younger, actually, when I graduated high school, I actually went into business for a while. And I was an auctioneer, and I owned an internet company for a while. And then I went back to undergrad, and I always had an interest in science and research. And so I did an undergrad in molecular biology at McMaster University. Okay. And then while I was doing my thesis work, my professor suggested that being a pure scientist, a pure bench scientist, was not necessarily the most rewarding position, because you were always dependent on the next grant. And so he suggested I look into the MD PhD program. So then I did, and I applied to Western in Toronto, accepted into the MD PhD program at Western in London, Ontario. And I did a PhD in immunology. And then when I was looking to pick a specialty, I thought, well, where can I apply my immunology degree? And dermatology was an up and coming field with new drugs in development, and it was very exciting. So from there, I applied to dermatology residency, and I was accepted at UBC. And I did spent some time in Victoria and in Vancouver during that process. And then I graduated there. I also worked a little bit for 1 month. I did an elective in Saskatchewan, and I came back to Toronto, and so I was around. And then I graduated from UBC, and I took up a position at Queen's University in Kingston.
Oh, wow, that's where I trained.
And I spent 3 years in Kingston, and I was the head of education. I did undergrad education and CME education and residency education there. And then I was recruited to Ottawa, where I am now, and I'm the head of dermatology in Ottawa for the past almost 5 years now.
Wow, great for you. Well, what a path, and it's incredible. And what was it that attracted you in dermatology besides being able to apply your immunology? Were there some mentors out there, or it was certain diseases that appealed?
It was, yeah, it was more, being the scientist, I actually had a big spreadsheet, and I did analysis of all different specialties. And I sort of weighed the pros and cons and what the possibilities were, where the research was, what allowed you the most flexibility. I did have a few mentors along the way, but strangely enough, they geared me towards dermatology, even though they weren't dermatologists to begin with. I had one mentor who was a general surgeon, a very famous general surgeon in London. And initially I was interested in surgery, but he was sort of nearing the end of his career and expressed that he was being pushed out, more or less.
Oh, yes,
and he had no choice in his career. It was sort of predetermined how much he could work and what he could do. And he said, the real key to happiness is being in a position that you're able to determine your own path. And he said dermatology is one of those specialties where you can do that. So that was sort of the fundamentals. But in addition, it was, I looked at allergy immunology for a while, but they had I will say, a limited number of diagnoses that they treat. Mm-hmm. And so the broad aspects of dermatology that it touched upon immunology had a bit of surgery in it. The long-term relationship with patients, that you could see pediatrics and adult patients. Mm-hmm. All of that appealed to me, and so in the end, it was the spreadsheet said I should do dermatology, and I've been very happy since.
Super. We're very happy to have someone with basic science background, and particularly immunology, as you say, with the new medications that are coming out. It's wonderful to have you with us. And so, what gives you the most satisfaction currently in your work?
So I would say I draw the most satisfaction in my career from helping people. And that's kind of a cliched response, but I'll expand upon that a bit. As an academic and as an administrator, division head, as a clinician teacher, as a clinician and a scientist, I feel like I have my hand in various different aspects, and I draw the most satisfaction from helping others learn or helping other people improve clinical work or helping other people succeed in research. It's often said that, you know, the mark of a good leader is really not your own success, but the success of the people around you. And so helping move the division forward, helping residents go through residency program, helping family doctors learn about dermatology in the area, helping the CDA along its path and helping promote dermatology. I'm also on an examiner for the Royal College, so I'm involved in a few different things. And ultimately, it's always trying to make people around you better, trying to, you know, give whatever you can to help people in various aspects. And then, of course, there's the clinical aspect where you're helping patients on a regular basis with their diseases and trying to cope with what afflicts them. But generally, yeah, I would say it's really that ability to make connections with other people and make their lives better in various aspects.
Yes. Well, you are a great helper, and we admire you for that. And we are lucky as dermatologists to have such flexibility with their schedule. Tell me, what do you find the strengths and weaknesses of your academic program right now as leader in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes say I'm a bit biased, but you know, we'll see. I've experienced a few different residency programs. I reviewed a few different programs across the country, and so I'm familiar with a lot of different divisions across the country. Right now, I would say that we have a very strong division, and that's really measured by what I would call the cohesiveness, the family nature, the connections between everybody in the division. That's really the strength of Ottawa. Anybody who has come through the program or been trained here will cite that it really feels like you're part of this family that tries to you know, make the world better. Academics in itself is a I will say a not financially rewarding undertaking. You know, it's not as well compensated as other aspects of dermatology potentially, and it does involve a lot of frustration with administration or bureaucracy or with limitations to what you can do, which is very different than private practice. And so in order to compensate for that, I always say it has to be some sort of a compensation or some reason that people do it. And I think it really is, again, that connection that you get from people. We have a yearly research education retreat where everybody gets together and spends the weekend together.
That's innovative. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I think the CDA sort of does the same thing, right? I think the CDA is a sort of a family on a national level. And so we have this very collegial group of dermatologists in Ottawa that try to help each other whenever they can. You know, somebody gets sick or somebody can't fill a clinic. There's always, you know, 2-3 people willing to help out to fill that position. You know, if there's a death in the family, people will be there and support that person. So I think that's really what sets Ottawa apart in many ways.
Well, congratulations for fostering that atmosphere. And do you have any funny stories along the way of your experience in dermatology?
Oh, now you're putting me on.
Or even in medical school, for that matter.
I have. Well, I don't know how funny the story is, but I was my interview for MD PhD program in Toronto, and the interviewer asked me. He said, "You know, do you have any hobbies?" And I said, "Well, you know, I quite enjoy watching foreign films." And I think they misunderstood the word foreign for something else, and so their eyebrows raised. And said, "Oh, really? How many films do you have in your collection?" And they were sort of taken aback. And I said, "Oh yeah, I have many in my collection. It's quite a large collection. I enjoy watching them with other people sometimes too. We like discussing them afterwards." And so eventually I caught on that they thought that I said something else, and I had to correct them. I was like, no, European, you know, foreign international films. And, oh yes, okay, yes, that's what we thought. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
So that was a funny story. I think I got accepted into Toronto at that time, despite the interview.
Well, you stood out at least.
Yes.
Like somebody who would be that so forthcoming and open with their background. You were remarkable.
Oh yes, yeah. I don't know. Yes, we'll see.
That's it. And so what do you value most in your involvement in the CDA and what it's
So
given
as
you?
I mentioned, I think the CDA really is a national organization that fosters this idea of a dermatology family, a collegiality of belonging. So I think that's one of the fundamental reasons for its existence. The yearly meeting is really an opportunity to get together and see each other. It's been unfortunate that it's been virtual the past couple of years. Hopefully this year it will be in person in Quebec City. And I think that's one of the main driving things. I also think that it serves as a very good platform to promote dermatology to the greater medical community, to the public, and to the government. As you and we all know, dermatology faces a lot of headwinds on a regular basis. And so we really do need national advocacy and a group that promotes dermatology and dermatologists. I think the CDA facilitates that process and really does a great job.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate all those insights. And would you have any tips for people starting out and what to do or what to avoid in terms of errors you might have made along the way, or you've seen other people, no doubt, make errors along the way?
Absolutely. I think my key message would be, try to find something where you can make connections with other people. It's very easy in dermatology to maybe go into private practice and never talk to or see somebody else and just see patients every day and make your yearly amount of money, and that's fine. But I think really as human beings, we are, I will say, somewhat evolutionarily programmed to interact and to create social groups. And so my advice would be to any future residents or dermatologists out there is to foster those social groups. I'm familiar with, in Vancouver where I did my residency, there's a group of women who get together and a group of men who get together on a monthly basis and just talk and have wine or, share some food together. And those kinds of things I think are really important, those connections with other people, and try to foster those along the way. It'll make your career a lot more enjoyable. And sometimes those people will help you when you do fall down and you have moments of weakness or problems that you encounter in your life.
So true. Yeah, I think that's been the inspiration for me also to be involved with the CDA and to attend its conferences and other conferences too. It truly is the human connection, which is the reward. And we have such an exciting specialty in where it's going, and most particularly with the immunologic treatments that we're focusing on now. It's really, really an exciting time to practice. And great to speak to you, Mark. I'm really happy to learn about this. And one last thing, so how do you manage your work-life balance? What do you do besides looking at pornography? No, foreign films.
Foreign films. Yes. I would say, that's actually one aspect where I probably am not the most astute person. I don't think I have a good work-life balance at this point in time, because running a division and being an academic, and I do e-consults as well. I probably work more than I should. Do
you walk to work, or like to do?
I do. Yeah. So that's the one thing I do. I made sure that I when I was in Vancouver, I had a condo that I could walk to work there, and then in Kingston, I did the same thing. And then here in Ottawa, I have the same thing. I'm actually about a block away from the hospital where I work. So I think that's actually one very important thing. Sorry, people who are in Toronto right now and have to go through traffic, but I think that being able to walk to work is a key thing, and then having a neighborhood so we're able to walk to restaurants and bars, and go out. And so I think that was very important for me. Luckily, when we bought a house, housing prices weren't as crazy as they are now, so I feel bad for anybody who's trying to buy a house these days.
Right.
I do some exercise. I bought one of those bikes that during the pandemic, as they have, to do some regular exercise. I try to take care of myself physically that way. I used to travel more for rest and relaxation before the COVID pandemic, obviously, and I'm still sorely missing that travel time to get away from things.
Right.
hopefully that will reopen soon and you'll get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
But I think I work probably too much, but I think that hopefully will change with time. The way I look at it, being a division head here is a limited time offer. It's
Right.
only 10 years
Mhm.
maximum, and I'm currently up for renewal. So we'll see. And then after that, then I can take it easier, in my next phase of my life, whatever that might be, hopefully.
Right. Well, wishing you luck with that, and for the group in Ottawa that we hold in great esteem. And thank you so much for giving me your time and sharing with the other CDA members that are anxious to learn about what makes Mark Kirchhof tick. So
Well,
that's great.
we'll see how many people watch this video, what the interest is in that. But thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
been a pleasure.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.